we were thinking, how difficult is it if you've got a friend, if you're trying to get pregnant, and then you have a friend says, hey, guess what? Have you ever experienced that?
When I heard the news, I thought of Ant straight away, because I've been in Ant's situation where I was 34 when we sort of started to try and get pregnant. It just wasn't happening. At 34, all my friends were married. My brothers and sisters were married. They'd all had children. And Steve and I, we just couldn't conceive. And it got to the stage where I saw babies everywhere because it was the one thing that I wanted, and I didn't want to be upset or miserable for them, but I just couldn't help it, and it just got me down and depressed and just so upset, and I couldn't be happy for people.
But did you pretend to be? So when somebody phoned you or said, "Oh, guess what?
Well,
your cousin's pregnant,"
yeah,
did you do the smile?
You kind of have to sort of say, "Oh, well done," but then I'd go home and be really upset and really cry. And there was one Christmas, and I've never ever been away for Christmas. One Christmas where we started getting like photographs of people's children, and it all meant well, but when you're so desperate...
Did they know you were trying?
They kind of did, but we didn't make a big deal about it, because, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, it'll happen, and you just put a brave face on it. But deep down, I was so devastated. And we just took ourselves away for Christmas.
You even started avoiding.
I can't go to my family's house and be around all the children, because for them, they had the perfect family, and we didn't.
Well,
and it was so hard.
It's difficult on both sides, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's difficult for the person who's been trying like you were, but it's also difficult for the person who knows her friend's been trying, and then she finds out she's pregnant, because it's like, I feel awkward telling her, you know, because I almost feel guilty that I've managed it so easily. I know it's like me and Bernie actually got pregnant at the same time. I got pregnant with Kira, and Bernie was pregnant a couple of weeks before me. We kind of found out, and it was all going nicely, and we were like, oh, we're going to be pregnant, and they were due to be born like a couple of weeks apart, and then Bernie miscarried, and she was devastated, and her husband were devastated. And so it was hard for me then, every scan, and bless her, she phoned me all, how is it, and she'd go, oh, can I feel like... But I felt awkward, you know. But having said that, when Kira was born, Bernie was the first one, other than Ray, Bernie was the first one to turn up at the hospital and hold her. Yeah. And that made me cry. Yeah. And then Bernie said, I'm delighted for you. Yeah. I wanted my own. I don't resent you having one, you know, but I felt awkward. I felt really almost guilty that I was
had a similar thing
it.
with my best friend Sam, and she's younger than me, 5 years younger than me, and you know, she knew that Eamon and I were trying, and then she made the phone call, so guess what, I'm pregnant. And I did, the words came out, like, oh, that's amazing, I'm so happy for you, but I couldn't deny inside. I was going, it should be me, and she's 5 years younger than me, and never
that's
showed
more
it.
regret for you, isn't it, than sort of a feeling against her.
Yeah.
It's
well, we talked about it, because she said she was really nervous about phoning me even to tell me, because she knew that I would feel like that. So it was that awkward thing.
We've had a lot of comments on this. Sharon, when I fell pregnant, my friend was having fertility treatment but was never lucky. Unfortunately, I think it was too much for her, and we drifted apart. I've not seen or spoken to her in 6 years. Carol, yes, in some ways it's hard to say congratulations, as I've been trying for a child for 26 years.
Wow. Didn't you say you had a friend that found it difficult?
Yeah, I had a friend
you didn't see her?
Because also I already had my older daughter, and we were good mates, me and my friend, but then I got pregnant again at 41. And she went really weird with me for a while, and I'm so I just didn't think. I mean, I didn't ring her up and go, hey, great, you know, but I suppose a bit like you, I think maybe people in your social circle probably thought you were more career-driven.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe you didn't want to, and that's what I thought about my friend. Yeah. And then after about 6 months, we ended up having this really in-depth conversation, and she said, I'm really sorry, I just really struggled with it, and this is why. I mean, we're great mates again now, but I really kick myself for not actually thinking that.
Lynette says, my husband and I struggled for 5 years to conceive and always found it difficult when friends and family had pregnancy news. Although you're happy for them, it is tinged with your own desperation. Thankfully, though, we now have our own 14-week-old baby. Congratulations.